So in today's video, we are going to create horizontal scroll animation based on the scroll. Similarly, if I scroll up, they'll move in opposite direction. And to achieve this, we are going to use ScrollTrigger from Gsap. So let's see how can we achieve this. As usual, our main focus is Gsap and ScrollTrigger. So we are not going to focus on the design or the CSS part of this, but we'll go through this. So first we have our main wrapper, which is named as scroller, which we are going to use to scroll our entire page. Then we have different section, and each section has a class named wrapper. So in case of images, I'm just looping it 4 times so I can see 4 sections of images and just grabbing random images from Unsplash. Again, we have another section with a text. Then we have an image section similar to above, and then we again have a text section. And the output of current code is this. So we have text, then 4 section of images, then again text, then again 4 section of images, and then just one more section of text. And at the end, we are just mentioning that we are grabbing all these images from Unsplash. And let's see how can we connect it with ScrollTrigger Gsap. So as usual, first we'll import use effect, then Gsap, then ScrollTrigger, and since we imported our ScrollTrigger, we have to register with Gsap. So gsap.register plugin ScrollTrigger. Now a simple structure of use effect, and the first thing which we are going to do is every time you refresh your page or load your page, we'll reset our scroll bar to 0, so it will align itself to the top of the page. So next we are going to create a function called handle scroll, and then we are going to define at the bottom. In this function, first thing which we are going to do is we are going to tell our ScrollTrigger, which is our default scroller. So in our case, our scroller, the wrapper, is our main scroller. So the next thing is find out how many sections we have and get it as an array. The way we normally do is we use query selector all, but this time what we are doing is we are using the util module from Gsap and then converting into an array and then looping them. So we get section and index of each section. Now we'll get wrapper item from each section. If you remember, we have section, then we have wrapper inside it. Similarly, section, wrapper. So that's what we are doing. We are getting the wrapper from each section. So now we'll create 2 variables, start and end. Since we are going to move items in horizontally, that's why we have x start and x end. So now we are going to check whether the current section index is an odd or even. So if we do modulo 2, if the result is 0, that means this is an even index. So the value which we are going to use is this, where start is 100% and the end is this. So what we are doing is we are taking the scroll width of a wrapper. Since this is an horizontal scroll, so each wrapper will take a specific amount. So that's why we are taking wrapper scroll width, then subtracting with section offset width, which is generally the width including any borders, padding or vertical scroll bar, and then subtracting it with our wrapper scroll width. And then we are multiplying it with -1. So by doing so, you are just inversing the entire value, and if you don't do the -1, your section won't move, so you have to multiply with the -1. Similarly, for the odd index, we have wrapper.scroll width multiplied by -1 as an x start, and our end is 0. So this is our start and end. Next thing is we have to do Gsap from and to. So in our case, the trigger is wrapper. So first object is of from. In this, we are going to move in x, so x is x start, and in 2, so we have x is x end. Then we are going to add scroll trigger. In this, each section is our trigger, right? And then we are going to add a scrub value. You can use any value, but in our case, we are using 0.5. So the result will look something like this. So the output will look something like this. So if we have first section, this is our second section, so that is odd, this is even, so odd, even, and so on. So now if I scroll, you can see the result. Similarly, if I scroll upward, you can see it's going in opposite direction. So I'll add a link to the code in description, and that particular link is a link of a specific branch. If you go to the pages and you will find the exact file name where all the code are written in a single file. Obviously I could have created like a separate component for images or the separate component for the text, but I don't want you to get confused in the imports. So all the codes are written in a single file, so you can find it easily.